all, hope you're doing well. We'll start the risk calculation and then we'll look at the QDB scores. So the technicals really fell yesterday. We were at 45 out of 100, but indices really fell, and the VIX pumped, and the yields, and the dollar. And because of that, it just it was a recipe for quite a risk-off mood that we had yesterday. And we're now currently situated at 9 out of 100. So looking at it in a vacuum, it might be a good time to buy because we've got a very low score, and then when it gets very high, you're looking to take profit. So that could be something that you could maybe entertain, is that you're looking potentially for a dip in the indices, but you've got to be really careful, you know, because we're not going to get lower than 0. You know, there is that. So what I'm going to do now is reset the scores at 9. So I think we can probably improve from 9. You know, if this is, we're going to make a bottom on indices, then we can probably go a bit higher on the technicals. So let's wait and see. Bubbles are very crazy. That's how they're situated. They're long yen, they're long Aussie, they're long New Zealand dollar, but they've reduced their shorts. So they're long Aussie, but they've increased their shorts. So New Zealand dollar might be a bit of a tricky one. And we had the RBNZ last night as well. They're long on the euro and they're short in the pound. Right, so the thing is, the dollar is on this vertical, so it tells us it hasn't really moved much, and it's probably just very undecided. And we got the Jackson Hole on Friday as well. Remember that. And the dollar's going to probably be a big mover. So you see at the top, and they've added shorts. You can see we've got these new columns, which are quite useful, and CAD Swiss is at the bottom. And what's happened here? Oh, they've added short on EU. Okay, so that's interesting. So they've gone short dollar CAD, and they've gone short the Euro USD. So that should be green, and likewise that should be green as well. Because of that, they've added shorts, right? So they've reduced their shorts on this one. So hopefully that's clear. Not much to talk about, just there's a lot of indecision. There should be greens up here and there should be reds down there, but we've got quite dark cells in the middle, so it's going to possibly be quite tricky. The ones in the middle would be ones that you could probably look for direction, but maybe you could use fundamental analysis, because at the moment on a technical and sentimental view these are undecided, but perhaps if you've got a fundamental view on a currency pair's direction, you could use that fundamental narrative to try and guess which way we're going to go. GU, should we come up or should we come down? That's the thing. We've got a 9 score, so it's okay, it's neutral, but perhaps you've got like an idea potentially about where that's going to go, and you can use your fundamental narrative to try and predict which way it's going to go. We have an increase on the scores, however they've gone along by 2%, and we're sitting at 50-50 on the percentage change, so it's sitting currently in the middle. Perhaps you could use a fundamental narrative, a driver, to try and guess which way that's going to go. Do you think the dollar is going to strengthen over the pound? You know, potentially we might be a bit risk off today, but however we are quite low on the risk calculation, and so probably it could be by the dip territory, and if so then the pound might do okay. So you've got to be careful, and I'll show you the indices. Where are we? Where's the RDP? There it is. I had to click on it then. So double click. Gold. Now the thing is, well, if we draw a diagonal, if it's going to allow me to do a diagonal, yeah, that's fine. We'll just do a rough thing. Hopefully it just does it. Yeah, so admittedly it's not going to be the greatest one because this RDP is a bit slow. You know, you could argue some respects here, some respects there, another one there. And now the thing is, we had, well, that's good, isn't it? We had 2 attempts of a breakout, you can see. One here. Let's click OK, that's fine. It's so slow. Yeah, it's not the greatest diagonal, but we had a breakout attempt, failure, breakout attempt, failure. Now, the thing is, on both those 2 attempts, they tried to buy above the diagonal. This time, they're selling. See this, that's them selling against the 21 moving average. So if we to get a break, it might not be like a breakout then rejection. It might just be a proper breakout. this would be the mover for the breakout. It's not necessarily the technicals or Elliott waves or anything like that. It's to do with the dumb money and that flow of dumb money, because don't forget there has to be someone to take the other side of that trade. So if they really sell it here, someone with a huge amount of capital are going to buy it because they have to take the other side of that trade. It's an exchange. So I'm willing to sell something and you're willing to buy it, but there always has to be a market. Okay, so it's the thing. And the person that I'm dealing with might have more money than I have. So they can get to decide on the move, and they get to decide on the conditions of that transaction. Now, the people that we're dealing with are the banks and institutions, and they'll decide which way it's going to go. So that's the thing about this exchange that we're having with the banks and institutions, is that they've got more capital and they've got more say about the direction. We haven't got anything. We can't push price, but they can. So if we go, or retail guys go one way, they'll have to take the other side of that trade, right? So if they continue to sell, we should see a break of that diagonal, then we'll pump. And this looks like a 1900 psychological break and stop there as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Could be quite tricky because the yields were pumping and now they've stopped pumping momentarily. So it might just be a little blip and they'll carry on pumping. If they do, then this will fall and there'll be a fundamental driver for this to fall. Or if the US Treasury yields calm down a little bit, this might do okay. So keep an eye on that low, and hopefully that makes sense about the exchange as well, because we don't get to set the conditions of that trade, but the people that we're trading with do, and they've got the say about which way things are going to go. And so we have to respect the sentiment, even though sometimes the herd get paid, but that's fine because 20% of the time they should get paid, but they shouldn't get paid too often. And Monday they did, so they sold DAX, and so we can create a box, and it's quite scary, fairly scary moves. So we can do a box here, and this is a demand, because what I was just saying earlier about the transaction. So they sell it, it's going to probably push price higher. And also don't forget the net lot, they're very net short, the net value, they are short. So if we sell it when they're already short, probably going to have to push price higher. And we'll probably see a 15,900 test resistance there. US 500, let's see US 30 because it's at the bottom. Very choppy price action. And they've just made a buy, but ideally we'd want that sentiment to come down a little bit, not go sideways. So we can probably draw a box now, and come on. Ugh. All right, so that's therefore support because they've sold it, but we don't want them to be buying. Okay, that's key. They need to sell it. Okay, then we can come up. So we've got to keep an eye on that. Don't want sideways stuff. And it might be that if they do buy it, we'll need a scary news story. And then they'll be really scared, and then they'll sell, because that's what we want. So we haven't got the crossover, so we can't draw a box, but we can draw a box here on this wick, this big old scary candle there. And basically just gobbling up liquidity. Whenever you see this jagged price action, it's just taking stops and trapping people. So there's a box there, so that's going to be a resistance. So keep an eye on 4469 and 4,500 pretty much, because that's the psychological round number. So maybe if they sell it, we'll probably come up here potentially. And if they continue to sell it, which I'm guessing they might, because we had a big reaction at the round number, they might think, well, it reacted there, it's probably going to happen again. And what will happen is that we fall a little bit if we get in this box, and they're like, right, we are bearish because we had a rejection here, we'll sell it, and then by that action we'll push price higher. So it's just basically a trap mechanic, and it definitely tells you the sentiment's probably more powerful than the technical, because it gives you a narrative and it tells us what they're trying to do. They're trying to ensnare us as traders, to try and get us to all think one particular way, and so they can trade against it and they can fade us and they can make profits off us. That's it, I guess. Oh, robot. The robot's just like trundling away. So we're currently just about eking out profit, but don't forget we've got rid of the trading stop. We're going to eventually get to TP or SL, but that way, by removing the trading stop, so we're going to get to its full potential TP, because we would allow it to get to its full SL, but it isn't really that good. We want to get it to full take profit. So AJ is going to be a bit tricky because we're quite far off the TP, and especially if the yields fall, it might mean that UJ falls, it tops out a bit, and if UJ falls, it might mean it might drag cross yen down a little bit as well. So this might result in a loss, but however, if these go to profit, it will eradicate that loss. So that's how we're currently situated. And let me know if you need any help. I'll be off into London tomorrow, and probably going to be leave like afternoon, probably 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and then I'll be back very late Thursday tomorrow night. And so the bulletin on Friday is going to be fairly late, but I'll try and get it across to you if I can about this time at 9 o'clock, might be 10 o'clock, because I'm getting home quite late. So that's that. So be careful, and don't forget we've got a lot of chop and decision in the middle, and perhaps you might want to look at a fundamental driver for a currency pair. So GU increased on the scores, see we're increasing on the performance, so you can use it. Okay, remember to trade safely. Let's speak to you guys tomorrow.